we're making.
And so you were known for Cabernet, correct?
Correct, that's correct.
And do you do other varietals as well?
We make a very small amount also every year of Sauvignon Blanc.
Well, we don't see any of that, I tell you.
There's a bit that comes into Texas, or is some that comes into Texas.
Have the inside track.
Texas is one of our bigger states, but there are a few around. But no, it is.
It is the biggest
but
state.
It's small. Well, it's the biggest, yeah, landmass. Well, what about Alaska? No. And that's a big wine market too. Just kidding. We do distribute it, but it's mostly for on-premise use, and then we also sell it on our mailing list direct. So it sees a less broad distribution than the Cabernet. And by the way, of course, Cabernet is always subject to more press coverage. Right. So people know more about. Spottswoode is a Cabernet house. We're known for our Cabernet. We also do make Sauvignon Blanc that we're very proud of, that people want, that we have great demand for. It sells out every year. We make anywhere from 2,000 to 2,400 cases.
And by the way, I did have a glass of that at Sharon's house.
Okay, good. There you go.
Her delicious chicken. Her delicious chicken.
You just have to come to St. Helena for it. That's all it is.
Yeah, it was Spottswoode Sauvignon Blanc. It's delicious.
Great.
But
Thank you.
now, are you all still hand picking? No, I mean,
yes.
No electronics.
No electronics. No nothing.
No tractors going through there, ruffling up the leaves.
No, there are tractors going through
that
do tow the trailer into which the grapes are dumped,
are
placed exactly. So, but it is all hand picked, all hand sorted. The day before we pick a certain block, the crew goes through and just gets rid of anything that doesn't look good. Tries to pull leaves out of the fruit zone so that when you pick, it's the cleanest pick it could be, the fewest leaves. The other thing about Spottswoode that I haven't mentioned is that we've been farming organically since 1985.
Oh wow!
So something for us. Yep, we started farming in '85. It was actually Tony Soder's suggestion. He was our original winemaker, and my mother was willing to go along with it. My father died in the meantime after we moved there, so my mother carried it on and then realized their shared dream of producing a wine. But we've been organic ever since then. You don't see it on our label. You don't know about it because it's not for purposes of marketing. Just like, well, where Sharon
and John live.
It is.
And there's a commitment level there.
There's a big commitment, and we're living in a residential neighborhood, and we also intend to keep up this estate in our family if we're successful for generations, we hope. So we have a lot of reasons for wanting to take care of the land, aside from the fact that we just philosophically believe in taking care of the land and farming organically.
Right.
So we really do everything by hand, and of course, all that organics does and the handful of biodynamic practices that we bring to the vineyard, anything it does, it's making you always looking forward at what your vineyard is doing. So there's no quick fixes. There's no like, gosh, I wish I'm using a real simple example, but gosh, I wish our leaves were greener. And you don't just go out and spray a foliar.
Right.
You need everything that you do is to plan in advance and to make sure that you're anticipating what's going to come. You're not, so you're trying to be proactive, not reactive. And so that's a good thing in grape growing if you think about how long a vineyard lasts and the fact you just get one crop a year, and it plays into how you make wine too, because that's long-term thinking too, because you have 3 years of a wine, 2 years in barrel on a Cabernet before it's released.
Well, it's obvious.
So you have to be looking at it.
You guys are good planners. I mean,
Thank you.
You've been around for 29 years, so
yes, that's good. I know that's awesome. That's amazing.
That's pretty amazing.
It's a long time. Thank you. Yeah.
And I guess I was talking to I don't know who it was just last week about an acre of land in Napa Valley back in 1978 was I think it might have been cake bread.
Yes,
it might have been Jack.
Right.
It might have been Jack. He said he spent like $5,000
on
1 acre.
In '72, my parents paid
$4,000, and now it's almost $1 million per acre.
It might be 500,000.
Unbelievable.
I mean, it depends on where it is and what it is.
Unbelievable.
13-acre property.
People don't understand.
Right, with no house or anything else. Exactly. No, it's
the public doesn't understand why wine prices go up. Well, because there's no land in the Napa.
Right,
exactly.
It's
planted.
Exactly.
And there's maybe 10% left where you can actually grow.
Maybe exactly.
Quality.
I mean, most of the quality sites have been found and planted for the most part. Not that there aren't still some that exist, but we have county ordinances that really limit what people can do in the hillsides, which I think is the right thing because they're steep hillsides, and with how Napa Valley is, people really would go in and take advantage of that. We'd have a lot of, there's just danger in real steep hillside development. It can be done, but it's not ideal. So it really is, for the most part, the top sites are known and pretty much planted out.
Well, that's amazing.
Pretty
I've always found it amazing that Napa Valley is only 3% of the production in California, but 35 to 40% of the revenue.
Exactly.
Right.
I mean, you think about that, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And you compare that to Bordeaux, and you look at the top 100 chateaus in Bordeaux, it's roughly the same equivalent.
Right.
So you really do have It is expensive, but it's also just unbelievable. It's an unbelievable place to grow grapes,
Right.
especially Cabernet, Sauvignon Blanc.
And the food's great.
That's great.
That is very true.
If you haven't eaten Napa, you need to
Now
go
we need
and
to
have
do
some
that.
great wine and great
Exactly.
food.
But it
So-
didn't
Exactly.
start back that way when you moved there.
No, it was
it's
horrible. I mean,
definitely
food, yeah.
something.
Yeah.
I think the food followed the wine.
Yeah.
The food definitely followed.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And
Well,
Art
now the
Mondavi's
wine's
kind of,
following food.
well, and Art Mondavi really sort of pioneered the whole idea of accommodating tourists, welcoming people to wineries. That helped to just make the valley explode. Once that happened and you had that critical mass of people, because we're right next to a large urban area with San Francisco and the whole
Right.
peninsula and East Bay. I mean, with that whole area, once that happened, then there was a market and people who saw Mustard's was sort of the first nice restaurant that
Right.
opened, and that was in '83. I
83,
think.
right?
And that was just exciting because
Right.
finally there was something you could eat something good in the Napa Valley. But up to that time, it was very difficult to find good food.
Right.
If not
Well, now
impossible.
it's just-
Exactly.
it's
Now
the Napa
we're
Valley.
very fortunate.
Well, I'm looking